Hey everybody, Ren Carothers here with your Future Stars Forecast Rewind edition. Usually I do this the very next week after Breeders' Cup, but I was actually collecting some interviews with some of the winning connections last Tuesday. You're going to see those packages being pushed out onto social media platforms for Breeders' Cup over the following weeks. Really fun stuff. Thank you to everybody who was willing to give me insight into your horses. And without further ado, let's get right into this. I'm going to actually bring in the other Carothers to talk about these races. Again, we're going to put the focus on the Friday card. And there's Matt Carothers.
Sorry, I was retweeting.
Oh, you're retweeting this. Good.
I was retweeting the show. I always forget to do that when I'm a guest. I always forget to like it and retweet it because the more the merrier. We want everyone to watch.
Oh, that's right. You know what? I'm going to retweet it as well right now.
Yeah,
I'm going to retweet.
Good idea.
Show.
Mm-hmm.
But
you promote your own show.
It is, and I do have to. Nobody would ever know this, but you know me. I'm that person who's going to tell you the information you don't even necessarily need to have, or you never knew you wanted to know.
No, you are that person.
If people see what's happening right here, and you probably can't. So I had a little bit of a blow dryer mishap.
Really?
I don't know how this happened, but usually when I blow dry my hair, I've got
dropped it on your foot.
No, I have the brush and I'm blow drying my hair, and I usually have the temperature set to medium. Somehow I was not paying attention. I was just thinking and deep in thought, and it was on high. And the next thing I know, my hair was literally melting.
It was on fire, or
not on fire. It just like melted. Do you see that?
That's a hell of a strong hair dryer you got.
I didn't even know it was possible for that to happen. So yeah, got the little flyaways kicking more than usual, and that's
you have a bit more hair than me because I do blow dry my hair as well. When you have perfect hair, you gotta
perfect hair.
Maintain it best you can. But my as you can attest to, my blow drying lasts about 15 seconds.
Yeah.
I have it on a hot, but there's only so much you can do in 15 seconds.
That's true. There is only so much you can do in that time frame. But okay, so that's that inside track. That you probably didn't even need to know anything about.
No, everyone needed to know that.
I actually hung back and watched the races from home with Miss A.
I was there. I was at Breeders' Cup. I was there.
Okay. Well, first of all, give overall impressions of the atmosphere.
Sorry, I don't do impressions. My business is in psychiatry.
Oh, God, no.
Airplane 2, right? 2. The sequel, which was really good. I grew up. It's weird for me because, not weird for me, but it's Del Mar. There's very few tracks I've been to more than Del Mar, so it's not like for some people. I mean, it was their first time ever there. And it's such a beautiful place, and it's great. And so I think I probably take it for granted a little bit because, I consider Minneapolis where I grew up, but I also did kind of grow up in Southern California, and I've been going to the track. I've been going to Del Mar my entire life. So going to Del Mar, as great as it is, it's not overly special for me. The Breeders' Cup is.
Yeah.
But Del Mar itself, it's an unbelievable place. I think they did a great job. I didn't financially have the success I had in 2017 when they had it last, where I killed it. Your Friday beat me up. Saturday, I rallied a little bit thanks to my man, Wayne Catalano, but Friday was not a good day for me. But Del Mar is great.
Beautiful.
It's spectacular. I was fortunate enough to be up on the top floor for a race or two, out on the roof basically, and you have that panoramic view of the racetrack right straight down from you, which is gorgeous with those fancy condominiums in the backdrop, and the track itself is so beautiful. And then you turn to 9 o'clock, and there's the ocean right to your left.
Yeah.
So it's a beautiful area. It's a beautiful place. I understand anybody that has a lot of coin wanting to retire in that area when they're done working for sure.
The funny thing is when they had the inaugural Del Mar Breeders' Cup, that was in 2017 with Gun Runner was our champion, which we'll talk about him more later. But I was actually pregnant at the time, and nobody really knew. I think the only person I told.
I knew, right? Did I know?
Well, yes, you knew.
I knew.
No. Yeah, that'd be funny.
I was seventh to know.
Yeah, right. No. So the only person who knew outside of the family was Dan Torgman. I told Dan.
Really? You chose Dan. You chose.
I told Dan at media.
He keeps a secret, that's for sure. So it's a good choice.
He's very discreet. So the funny thing was with that. So I remember like we were hanging out with Acacia in the, what is that? Was it the 14 Hands room? What's that? Where they have like the tacos and whatever.
I'm so bad with names of anything. It's a great location though, just kind of adjacent to the paddock.
Adjacent to the paddock. So like hanging out with her and we're all sitting there, like 3 champagnes being passed around. I couldn't have any of it.
I wasn't working. I did the really early ship with Dave Weaver.
Right.
I was throwing him back. Yeah.
Oh, well.
Father Carl was there. It was a good time.
No, well, I had a great time, even though I could not indulge in anything. And then we, of course, had great racing the whole weekend and great after party. So I had a great time anyway. But now let's get to talking specifically about Future Stars Friday. I know the notes that you have might be a little out of order. I want to go in the order of the actual races themselves. So we're going to start off with the Juvenile Turf Sprint. Last year.
Well, Juvenile Turf Sprint.
Yes.
Okay.
Won last year by Golden Pal. And we'll talk about Golden Pal more in just a bit as well. But yeah, Twilight Gleaming, one of 3 horses entered for Wesley Warden. I think I'm not alone when I say that most of us were looking at Averly Jane between the two fillies, because Coffee Maker's a colt that he had in there as well. But Twilight Gleaming, oh my gosh. Okay, so this filly was actually picked out for Stone Street by Ben McElroy. And the funny thing is ahead of the Breeders' Cup, if you guys watch these little Future Stars Friday packages that me and my guy Ern put together, I'd actually spoken with Wesley ahead of the Breeders' Cup, and he talked about this filly and gave a nod also to Ben, who was very kindly filming the feature for us with my phone. So yeah, I mean, she showed up big time. Should we show the replay first, or do you want to talk about it and then show the replay, or talk during the replay?
I always enjoy talking during it. We have a lot to cover too. So
okay, so let's do that. This filly was coming off a really, I mean, nice win there at the Prix de la Vallée d'Auge. I don't speak French fluently. I know a little bit, but yeah. That was at Deauville over, less than firm going for sure. She had soft ground that day. And, but 5 furlongs. And I mean, I don't know. What did she end up going off here? Let me see. She went off at 5-1. 5-1.
Okay.
Rad Ortiz. And she just, I mean, right from the gate, she went out there and nobody went for her. So let's go ahead and take a look at the race.
Yeah, she's one of those fillies that I did not like, I did not use, but then looking back, it's like, why not? I mean, it's just that's the difficulty and the beauty of the Breeders' Cup races, right? You can't use them all, even in pick 4s, pick 5s, and she outbreaks the field. I knew. I mean, you actually were the one who told me initially that the one had speed, and I went back and watched her races and his races, excuse me. And I was like, Twilight Jet is going to show a lot of speed. You were right about that. I mean, he was involved early on. But it ended up being, a Rad Ortiz, and look how easily he's riding Twilight Gleaming. You go back and look at this filly, her grass races. I mean, I don't care who you're facing. It's tough to win by 7.5 in a 5/8 race. And that's what she did in her turf debut, Belmont, second start of her career. And look at the ease in which Rod has the lead here, turning for home. And we look at the hands versus who was that? E.T. Barrett on the 9. I mean, it's night and day, and now the race is over at this point. But so, and then we know how smart Wesley is. And for him to take, this filly to Ascot, and she was favored, and it was a 21 horse field. Is that correct? In the Queen Mary, and she runs second in that race. And then she wins in France, you already discussed. So it's not like shocking that she won. I guess a lot of us thought, Averly Jane was the ward to use, and then Armor and Hierarchy and Go Bears Go. Those are the European horses I think a lot of us were looking at, and boy, were we wrong, because Twilight Gleaming was just too fast.
And I should amend what I said, regarding nobody came from her. Obviously, One Timer was there with her, but I'm saying like nobody was able to go and actually get her late. Like it's just I don't know. I mean, that was a really dominant performance for a 2-year-old filly.
Yeah, the pressure. As somebody who, I played a little basketball when I was young. I like the analogies. It was sort of like, it was kind of token pressure.
Yeah.
Like in basketball, Red, if you have like a real aggressive full court press, you're really bothering the team dribbling the ball up, and you only have 10 seconds to get the ball into the front court. But token pressure is you're kind of guarding them. You're making it a little bit of annoyance, but it's not that big of a deal. I played point guard. So that was sort of token pressure, where there's somebody there, but it's pretty easy to get, you're not going to get called for a violation for not getting the ball into the front court within 10 seconds or make a turnover, because they're just kind of getting you out of your rhythm a little bit. So that she was kind of a little bit of a pest, I guess.
One Timer.
He was a little bit of a pest, but he was not a threat.
Did you notice he kind of went wide around the turn too? I'm not saying it would have made any difference really, but he kind of was a little bit wide out. It looked like, even though he was alongside her, there was some space in between. And the other thing I will say, I'm going to give myself a very slight pat. Just a very, because I didn't have Twilight Gleaming. I will admit that, and I should have.
Not in either.
But I did tell people as a bit of a price, Go Bears Go, and he did run second.
I like that horse too a little bit. I used that horse, and I thought Hierarchy might run well, and I think that horse had a terrible trip and ran 5th or 6th. So that's the thing about Breeders' Cup. You can have a couple of horses you like that run pretty well, but the key is coming up with the winner. And if you don't like the winner, many times you're obviously in trouble, and that was the case with me, because I used a few in the race and didn't have the winner.
Well, the funny thing is when she won that stakes race there at Deauville, if I remember correctly, the reason that they had her go over there was as a companion for Campanelli, who was going to be running, and she came through not just as a companion, but she came through as a winner for Wesley there, Twilight Gleaming. Now, as far as that top 3 go, he actually took the 3rd spot with Coffee Maker. And then Averly Jane was 5th, but it was a close 5th. We're talking about very small margins separating these horses.
Yeah, I guess I know we got to move on, but one of the weird things for me, just kind of looking back at it, is that obviously Gaffney owns the rider on Averly Jane, so he was going to ride Averly Jane, but obviously DeTore rides so frequently for Wesley and was aboard Twilight Gleaming in France. So it's a little weird that he didn't even have a mount in the race, right? And that they went to Arado Ortiz. Obviously Arado Ortiz is great, but it's kind of weird that Frankie didn't ride this horse. It's not like he had another mount in the race. He didn't. So that's just something to.
Well, Arad did ride Twilight Gleaming in the first 2 starts of his career. So I would think that's basically the reason.
He said this is your mount, but obviously in Europe you're not going to go for August 7th and okay. Yeah.
So now, as far as, by the way, if anybody wants to know Final Time and Fires, we've got
who's good, right?
57 and 84 buyer.
No, 84.
Yeah, 2-year-olds. So come on.
Yeah.
Now let's take a look at what was the next race after that. It was the Juvenile Fillies, right? Yeah.
Yes.
Yes. The Net Jets Breeders' Cup Juvenile Fillies, and this Wayne Harrison saying right here, can I get 5-1 Echo Zulu Kentucky Oaks in England? Oh, you can get 5-1 in Echo Zulu. What do you think of that?
In England, it's not an area. I would doubt it. Wouldn't you?
Well, no, he's saying he can. He's not asking if he can. He's saying
can
he
get. Well, there's that. Oh, well, that's yeah. I mean, I would think. I have a guess now up here.
Hi, Mama.
Hi,
okay.
Ava.
Ava.
Hi.
Tried to made the popcorn the whole deal, but maybe you should go sit on the couch, eat your popcorn.
Hi, Dad, Mama.
Yeah. Okay. Let us do the show. Okay. Let's do the show.
Hi, Mama.
Hi.
Hi.
Okay.
So, tell me, yes, hi, baby. Echo Zulu. I did not doubt that she could get the 2 turns. The pedigree there.
No.
You're by gun runner. I mean, come on, he won the Classic in 2017. Yeah, obviously a classy horse himself. And
That Del Mar, yeah.
Yeah, and the damn Sire Menifee.
Elliot Weldon.
He won the Bluegrass. He won the Haskell. I think it really. I mean, people go, oh well, she's a half sister to Echo Town, who won, a Grade 1 sprinter. Well, yeah, but he's also by Speightstown. Although Speightstown can get you distance too. It just all depends how the genetics all come together. You know what I'm saying?
He was second in the Derby, I think.
There you go.
Charismatic, I believe.
So I mean, when you also consider she's a half sister to J-Boy's Echo, who won the Gotham. I mean, to me, I never doubted her on the 2 turns.
No.
You.
Did I doubt her?
Yes.
No, but I'm greedy. So, I mean, I thought she was probably going to win the race.
Yeah.
Obviously, I used her like everyone else in exotics, but, I'm greedy. It's Breeders' Cup. So, and the horse I liked ran big. I mean, I like Cherie's horse, Tarabi, in the race.
Oh, my gosh. She did run huge. And we're going to.
Because I thought her race in the Spinaway was excellent. It was only the 2nd start of her career. I know she has speed. She was training lights out. And I figure that if Echo Zulu, who, based on what we just talked about, shouldn't have a problem with the distance. If for some reason she's a little short, Tarabi is going to be the one who has ability to be sitting second. And I was pretty much right about that, except for Echo Zulu was just too good. And Tarabi, it's one of the situations where the best horse doesn't always win. The second best horse doesn't always finish second. And Tarabi was the second best horse. Nothing against, I think, the Amos horse or the Cox horse, I think, who finished second. But she was second best and ran third.
So, okay. Now, as far as, I mean, the coming into the race, she's coming in with some mighty impressive credentials. She'd run 3 times, a winner in all 3 starts by open length. She won her debut by 5.5. Then she came back, won the Spinaway, her first Grade 1 by 4. Then she goes in the Grade 1 for Zet, wins that by 7.25 lengths. Both those Grade 1s on the front end the whole way. I mean, in her debut at 5.5 furlongs, she was, sitting there half length back in second guessing before she kicked on. But she's been ultra consistent in just the class, the professionalism, and the ability she's shown. So she was no surprise, your 4 to 5 morning line favorite for this race. So let's go ahead and take a look-see at Echo Zulu winning the Net Jets Breeders' Cup Juvenile Fillies.
It was another decent weekend. On a big racing weekend, the biggest we have for Rosario, isn't it? I mean, it's just.
Oh yeah.
I mean, it's insanity, the money that he's made this year, and the race is over now.
Yes.
I mean, pretty much.
Yes.
Pretty much. You clear, you establish position, you go at your own pace. And there's Tarabi, who I was right. I thought, some people didn't. I thought she was second fastest early on, and there she is. She did get second.
Well, the thing about Tarabi, people need to go back and just watch her performance out of the Spinaway, because it doesn't. The running line does not, in my opinion, even begin to explain what a bad start she had out of the gate. It looked bad. So I watched
agree.
that, yeah, I mean, watch that replay head on, and then you'll understand that the performance she put in here in the Juvenile Fillies was not a surprise. She actually, obviously had ability to be able to come back from that bad start to do what she did that day.
Yeah, I think she broke to the inside and stumbled a little bit.
Yeah, it was bad.
Yeah, and I don't know, smashed gate. I don't even. I mean, I guess I don't know, but yeah, it was definitely. Ava, come on.
Hi.
It's gonna be difficult, right?
They'll be fine.
Oh, come on. Look
Don't
at,
hold me around.
Oh, okay.
Where?
So I mean, look at the other riders, and then look at Rosario. I mean, how many lengths is she going to win by right now? That's the only thing you have to determine, and then who's going to get second. Maybe I was being a little critical on Brad's horse. She was right by Tarabi. I mean, they ran pretty similar races, I guess, and she did fight to get second in this race. So give her credit for that. But yeah, it goes Zulu, and I mean, she's 4 for 4, and she hasn't been tested.
No, it's pretty cool. And the other thing that's pretty neat, when you also consider, here she is winning the NetJets Breeders' Cup Juvenile Fillies over the same track that her sire won the Classic against. Talking about Gun Runner. This is a first crop representative. And not only did she win, but then in the TVG Juvenile presented by the Thoroughbred Aftercare Alliance, in second was his son, Papa Cap. So, I mean, for a freshman sire to have this type of success straight out the gate, Chimneys where he stands, they have to be ecstatic. And, the other thing about Gun Runner that I also have to bring up whenever we talk about him is not only did he win the Classic, not only was he Horse of the Year, but his mom is a half-sister to another Classic winner and Horse of the Year in St. Leo. So you just love seeing the consistency of talent and ability. And another nod I want to give to another Breeders' Cup champion is our Dirt Mile winner of 2015. And I'm talking about Liam's Map, because Juju's Map in running second, she's one of his daughters. So it's really great to see the Breeders' Cup winners and horses who, get there in the money, lighten up the tote board. It's really nice to see that they are scion of our previous winners and champions, because that's what it's about. It's the Breeders' Cup, right?
Yeah, and I think Gun Runner is close to surpassing Uncle Mo, right? Is most earnings freshman sire.
I have to double check that.
I think. I mean, obviously purses are, go up, and Uncle Mo has been a bit of time now. But
Uncle Mo, a Breeders' Cup champion.
Right, exactly. So I think I'm correct about that. And if I'm not, I mean, he's been one of the best freshman sires for sure that we've had.
It's pretty remarkable. And really cool news that Beholder, 4-time Eclipse champion, is going to be bred to Gun Runner in 2022. And one of the reasons why I love that is we know that Candy Ride, Gun Runner sire, has already had success over Stormcat. Well, we're seeing that with Gun Runner himself now. Gun Runner, he himself is out of a Giants Causeway mare, and Giants Causeway is a son of Stormcat. And both of Gun Runner's Grade 1 winners, Echo Zulu and Gunite, they are out of mares whose sires hail from Stormcat. And the same is true for Beholder. Her mom is by a Stormcat sire line stud. So I love that we're seeing not only two champions being bred to each other, but we're seeing a pairing that has proven already affinity in just this first crop. So it's pretty exciting to see now what's going to happen when he's bred to a horse like her. And also something that bears reminding is that none of her foals have raced yet. She has a 3-year-old colt, QB1. He actually worked yesterday, I believe. So he must be nearing a debut, because it's another one. It's another in a line of steady works that he's put out. So hopefully we'll see him soon. She has a Curlin filly, Karen with an eye, but I don't know what's going on there. And then she has a yearling, I believe. So it'll be neat to see what happens here with a pairing with Gun Runner.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
Now, obviously with Echo Zulu going undefeated, 4 for 4. Let me see. 94 buyer
A doctor.
is how that came back. Final time 142, 24 100. And obviously she's got an eclipse locked down with that. You're an eclipse voter, so I mean, unless somebody's balls are being greased to vote for somebody else, I mean that's lock city. She'd have to go unanimous.
I would hope so. I mean,
I would hope so. Yeah.
Yeah, it's one of those your voting privilege should be taken away if you don't. If you don't vote for her, that's how egregious I think it would be. And she got that figure without really even building up a sweat. Figure maybe even misleading because of the ease in which she won.
Yeah. Oh, you know what? Let's see here, actually, because Wayne has a few things he wants to impart. Wayne says he backed Messier 33-1 Derby before he won the other night. Love the Corniche interview, Ren. Thank you. You must have enjoyed getting to know his owners before the race. His breeder, Leah O'Meara. So I talked to Leah O'Meara of Stonehaven Steadings. She and her parents, her family and husband, they're all involved there at Stonehaven Steadings, and they bred Corniche. He did sell for $1.5 million, but they stayed involved with a piece of him. And so, we talked to him before, and you guys can all watch that interview on Breeders' Cup YouTube. If you go back, you'll be able to find that. And we actually have a follow-up coming in the next few weeks with Leah. I'm so happy for her, especially considering the fact that, how she spent her Friday night. You win the Breeders' Cup TVG Juvenile, and then what do? You go for charity and for the TCA.
The Turbo Aftercare.
So it's nice to see somebody who gives to the horses, and the horses give back to them.
Yeah, I saw her at that event.
Yes, you did. I think you told me you saw Wayne cutting a rug. See, he gave to the horses, and then the very next day, Aloha West gave back.
I don't know, with Wayne all weekend. It's everywhere. Wayne was everywhere.
I think how they do those intros at Saratoga for the jockeys now?
I do, I think, yeah.
So, maybe when they should do those for the trainers as well. And if Wayne has a horse, could you see him coming out to Cat Scratch Fever?
Yeah. Or just, any song, really.
Any song.
Yeah.
Well, he's the cat man.
No, I know.
And also, here we go. Congrats, man, on your nomination. Well-deserved, no doubt. Did try to vote, but was struggling from here. Keep up the good work. Must be hard having the young one, so respect for that. Okay, yes, I'm going to embarrass you now. So everybody, Breeders' Cup can't, lobby support against any one person. So I'm speaking for myself right now. Matt is a finalist
Mommy.
for the America's Best Racing Awards, the Fan Choice Awards.
Mommy.
Favorite racing TV personality. So I encourage all of you to vote for him. Because he's awesome at what he does. He's been doing this since, you were there day one with TV.
Decades.
You've been on TV in some way.
Hi, Mama.
Tell everybody to vote for your dad. Say, vote for my daddy.
Vote for my daddy.
There you go.
There you go.
That's not persuasive.
How can anybody resist that? She loves Spider-Man. Okay, so you've actually been doing on-air analysis, whatnot, since 95.
That's the first time I was on air. 95. 95 at Canterbury Park.
I
Yes.
was in high school. I was 2 years off from graduating.
First 3 years at Canterbury. Yeah.
Yeah.
Fond memories.
So yeah, I can't speak highly of you enough. I know you're my husband, so I'm biased, but I see the work you put in, day out, and I think you deserve it 1,000 times over. If they had an eclipse, I would vote for you for the eclipse for it. So.
Folks, vote for me because if I don't win, I'm going to cry a lot.
Yeah.
You don't want to see
I'll be the one crying. I'll be the one
crying for weeks.
I love everybody else. Don't get me wrong. I love everybody else who's been nominated, but come on. You're my guy. Okay. So anyway, moving on for our Future Stars Friday rewind here. So we just talked about Echo Zulu again. If you missed it, Sire came back in '94 for her. She's got that Eclipse locked down. I mean, my goodness, you're 4 for 4, 3-time Grade 1 winner now, and just a really exciting prospect going into 2022, Kentucky Oaks, all that jazz. Now, let's look at the fillies on the turf, and I think that's the next one, yes?
Yes. Race 8.
Yes. So now the winner of this race is Pizza Bianca, and I'm kicking myself as I'm watching this race, okay? Because here's the thing. She was my pick in the Natoma, all right? And for whatever reason, I didn't use her on my ticket for the Juvenile Fillies turf.
Well, you're kicking yourself after the race. There's no point in time you thought she was going to win until right at the end, really. I mean, that was
okay, right. Okay, fine. Yeah.
Pretty amazing.
Well, here's the thing. I was kind of discounting her because I was like, oh, she drew the rail. You know, oh, she's going up against some horses who've been against Inspiral. Inspiral, by the way, has gone on to be named Carte champion 2-year-old filly over there. Okay. Yeah. So I'm like, oh, you know, all this stuff starting to doubt that, you know,
right. Wild Beauty had finished behind other horses in this race, and Wild Beauty toyed with her.
Yes.
And then Natal after missing the break, right?
Right. So I used Mise en Scene and I used Bubble Rock. And the reason, and here's the thing, I'm not saying Bubble Rock would have won. I'm not even saying she would have hit the board. But dear goodness, that horse had one of the worst trips ever.
Yeah.
I mean, like I don't even know how many times that horse had a steady throughout.
Giant Fields Grass, especially Giant Fields Grass 2-year-olds. I mean, it's not a big surprise. I crushed Haughty, who ran well.
I used Haughty as well, yes.
Didn't run well enough. It was an inch out of second.
Oh, yeah. I used Haughty as well. And she put in a game performance, again, just not good enough to get there.
She had a perfect trip. She had a perfect trip.
Yes, Ava. Ava agrees. Okay, so we're going to take a look at this replay of Pizza Bianca. And the fun thing is that this filly gave Christophe Clement his first Breeders' Cup victory. Can you believe that? I mean,
that is surprising. He's been such an elite trainer with so many good horses for so many years. Like I said, I don't really, think about those kind of numbers too often. But when I heard that, I was like, wow, I'm glad he finally got his, because obviously he's been in business for a long time. He's had a lot of success, and I'm sure he's been seeking this for a while. So nice for him to get it.
Yes. And whereas we had seen Arad winning on Twilight Gleaming with Jose, his brother, in third on Coffee Maker in the Juvenile Turf Sprint, here we got Jose Ortiz aboard Pizza Bianca, a homebred for Bobby Flay. And that's the other part of that I think is really fun. Daughter Fastnet Rock, her mom, a daughter of Galileo, and a 3/4 sister to Pourmois, who won the Epsom Derby. So really great pedigree. Let's go ahead and share the screen here.
This was an unreal ride from Jose Ortiz. And, there's obviously, when you're in the position that he's in and you break, I always love it when horses that are closers, they break sharply. So obviously broke sharply, but then you drop back because that's your style. But obviously there's some luck involved, but I think there's a lot more skill from Jose Ortiz. It was a combination to be able to get the trip that he had with the position he was in. Element of luck, absolutely. But it's Louis Saez doing what Louis Saez loves to do, go to the lead. And the pacing doesn't appear to be overly fast, but they are strung out quite a bit, which is sort of surprising to me for an opening quarter that was technically 23-2, but more like 23-3. So they're not flying, but they are strung out. And just watch Jose's trip right now. I think he's 3 horses in front of him. Now he's between horses. He's got to steady a little bit, but never checks sharply, which is key. So you might lose this much momentum, but the key is to not make it like this and hit on the brakes. You can tap on them, but not slam on them. And all of a sudden, you still have long shots on the lead. Turner Loose is trying to get involved.
Yes.
And where is she right now? Oh, there she is. And watch this move here from Jose Ortiz. So here she comes. Well, look at that. Splitting horses perfectly there. Definitely helped by the fact who's a horse in the rail, Ren? The 12. The 12?
Yeah. Yes.
12. I mean, going the wrong direction at that point. But that was
Malavoth. I'm sorry.
Malavoth, who runs great.
Yeah.
Who gets second,
she's Irish bred, but Irish bred, yeah.
Who gets second and nose in front of Hottie. But that was just an unbelievable ride. In terms of Bobby Flay, another guy that, he used to go to the racetrack with his dad when he was a kid. So his dad was a gambler. Used to go to all the New York tracks. Then obviously, through hard work in his career, he made the money to be able to get involved from the breeding operation and the ownership operation with racing. He's been on the board of the Breeders' Cup. He's been board on a lot of big organizations in racing. So he gives back. And he's somebody that told me a couple of years ago that, he was so intrigued by what Aidan O'Brien was doing in Ireland that he actually went out there, hung out with Aidan O'Brien, and watched the way he prepares his horses in the morning at Ballydoyle and said it was unbelievable. It was eye-opening. He's a really good guy. He loves the game. And it was cool to see him also, who's had a lot of good horses over the years, win his first Breeders' Cup.
One of my favorite moments was Nick Luck interviewing his daughter in the winner's circle with him standing right there. And she was so emotional, but she was trying to keep it in check. And it was very endearing to watch that. She knows, obviously, how much that these horses mean to Bobby. And to see her dad, I think, achieve something of this level, which, I mean, he's won the Juvenile Fillies Turf with More Than Real back in 2010.
Oh, he had one before, right?
With 2010, but still, I mean, it never gets old. I'm sure you can never win enough, right?
No, that's 11 years ago.
Now, something I did notice, and we should bring up, is I'm watching this replay here, and the replay, the fractions that we're seeing during the replay do not match what I have here in the chart. So, like, for example, the chart here says 47 flat, right? So whatever the discrepancy is, hopefully we'll get that all sorted out, because it is very important for horse players, obviously, to know how fast these horses were going.
Right, because the buyer came back pretty low, but we don't know if it's even the accurate buyer at this
79.
Point. Yeah.
I mean, I'm going to see, because when I actually put this note together, it was relatively soon. I want to see if anything's changed here. No, I mean, and the fractional times here say 22, 76, 100, 47, and 100. So basically 47 flat, 111, basically, and then 120.
See, that's to my point, because watching the race, as I said when we were the initial fractions were put on the screen just now were 23 and 59 100s, and I said basically 23 and 3, which was odd to me watching it because that's not very fast, and they were very strung apart. Yeah. So that was kind of an indicator that opening quarter was incorrect, and now you're telling me it's 22 and change. That makes a lot more sense.
Yeah, it's saying final time 135 and 36 100. And I missed what said final time there at the end on the replay itself. But yes, I mean, this is definitely something that going forward, when these horses come back, hopefully when we see them back in the past performances, we'll have certainty that we can count on those.
Well, it sounds like the opening quarter was the problem in some of these races.
Yeah. And I know that Randy Moss addressed this a bit in relation to the Breeders' Cup Classic itself. He says it does look like the final time is correct. Which is very impressive because it was not far off the record held by Candy Ride there for 1.25 miles for Knicks Go. But we'll get to that momentarily. Now, let's talk about, oddly enough, the TVG Juvenile was not the final race of the evening. It was your favorite word, the penultimate race of the night.
Not used enough, yeah.
The TVG Breeders' Cup Juvenile presented by the Thoroughbred Aftercare Alliance. And I got to tell you, I know a lot of people were looking at the morning line favorite, Jack Christopher, as the horse they were going to play. And do not get me wrong when I tell you, yes, you should respect that horse. Yes, he is ultra talented. I'm a huge fan of Munnings, who is his sire.
Here comes the butt. Here comes the butt.
The butt was, I was never going to play him on top. I have questions regarding him around 2 turns. If I'm taking a short price like that, right? His mom is a half sister, if I recall. I don't have my notes right in front of me, but if I recall, a half sister to Street Boss, who, as you know, he was one of those late those late closing sprinters on synthetic. So for me, I was like, oh, good. He's going to take a lot of money. This horse is going to take a lot of money. And so I'm going to play my Coronation, be happy over here with what I can get because I feel it's going to be value, right? Then Jack's had a scratch. Thankfully, nothing major, but he did have to scratch. And we'll see him back in action next year. But yeah, I mean, what was your thoughts on that?
Yeah, I wasn't planning on using him either. I mean, at that price, with what you just went through, with the fact that there was a lot of other speed, and as you know, I'm a big bias guy, and I thought the October 2nd Belmont was a big speed day, and I thought he took advantage of that a little bit. But he's obviously a gifted racehorse. Yeah. It's never. I say this all the time. I'm saying it since 1995, probably. It's never good when favorites scratch. It's always bad because if you're trying to beat the favorite, your price gets ruined, and a lot of people obviously like the favorite because he's the favorite, and so they're upset. So no one wins when the favorite comes out of a race. But as you already stated, the good news was it's just a real minor deal for Jack Christopher. So
he's a beautiful horse on top of everything else too.
Yeah, and this is a race in which the horse I mean, it's the old racing cliche, still running. That might be the case with Oviatt Class.
You made a great case for that horse. That horse had tremendous pedigree. He did.
Texas red for me all over again. But I love the way he finished the American Pharoah. But he didn't show up, and it was a lot of the races that we're showing from Breeders' Cup Friday and I guess Saturday, wire-to-wire winners, and another one here.
Well, there's a few things about Coronation I want to say before we go to the replay. This is Mike Smith, who's won more Breeders' Cup races than any other jockey. He gets his 27th championship here in the TVG Juvenile, presented again by the Thoroughbred Aftercare Alliance. The other thing that I loved about him winning was, me being the petty geek, I love seeing La Troyenne, who is one of the most prolific blue hens, and blue hen, by that I mean one of the greatest progenitors of class, states class genetics that we've had in the breed, okay? La Troyenne, her line, again, prolific. It's one of the most prolific we have in racing. It includes so many champions, so many Hall of Famers. I could go over it, but I'll just name like Buck Passer, Easy Goer, like those are big names right there. And I could go on and on and on, but bottom line, the other thing that I found so interesting too is if you look, even recently, she's had many more than this. There have been many Breeders' Cup champions to come from her line. But even if you just look in the past couple of years, Game Winner, who won, and specifically to the Juvenile, Game Winner is the same family 1X. He won it in 2018 over Knicks Go, by the way.
That's right.
So Future Stars Friday grad there. And then we had
a zillion to one Knicks Go.
Right. And then last year, Essential Quality, that's family 1X again. And now Corniche. So in the past 4 years, 3 Breeders' Cup Juvenile winners are all from the same family.
Yeah, that's cool. And
right?
Yeah, I mean, I have so many things. I have my phone, my iPad, the laptop open up right now. And I'm trying to pay attention to her as she's drawing all over herself.
She's drawing on herself. Okay.
Yeah.
That's not very good. You may
with
need
my
to
pen
drive her with
right
something.
now. Yeah, with my pen.
With your that's why she was talking about.
Or your pen. I think it might be your pen. It's your pen.
I don't know if she should draw.
It's your pen, I believe. Yeah. But yeah, I saw in your note somewhere about and this is a son of Quality Road who's been obviously very productive, I think, mainly with 2-year-olds, right, in past Breeders' Cups.
Oh, well, Quality Road himself, the thing I love about him is that, it's a horse who can, he set track records. I mean, that's the other thing with Corniche himself. So Quality Road, he sets a record for 9 furlongs in the Florida Derby. Then at 4 years old in the Dawn, he beats his own record.
They love Gulfstream.
His own record, and he crushes that field by like 12 3/4 lengths, okay? Then the mom here of Corniche just wasted tears She was fast. She set a track record. And then she's by Najran, who's ultra fast and could, almost equal Dr. Fager's record.
I think Bart Evans,
Yeah,
who bred Corniche, trained Wasted Tears. I believe.
I think you're right.
I believe she came out to. Did she win the Maybe? She came out to Del Mar. I think won the Maybe.
Well, all I know, beyond what you're saying, it just listen to some of these names from, again, Family 1X, okay? Mineshaft, LA France, who won the ARC. You've got Smarty Jones, Sea Hero, Numbered Accounts. And the Numbered Account, her son, Private Account, went on to Sire Personal Ends and Inside Information. So that's cool there from that perspective. But as far as the Breeders' Cup champions belonging to La Troyan's family, you've got Princess Rooney, Outstanding Elite, Rhythm, Folklore, Dangerous Midge, Perfect Shirl, Judy the Beauty, Stephanie's Kitten.
Wow.
And I mean, it just goes on and on. It's just an amazing, deep, deep family. And to see another representative go ahead here and become a Breeders' Cup champion, it's very exciting. Again, another horse who's got year-end honors locked down. And it's so cool, again, to see Mike Smith winning here. Corniche for Speedway Stables. And again, our friends there at Stonehaven Settings have an interest still in him. Bob Baffert, your trainer. And let's go ahead and watch the Breeders' Cup TVG Juvenile presented by the Thoroughbred Aftercare Alliance. And you can give any of your thoughts you have about the running of the race as we watch it.
Well, I mean, even on paper going in, there wasn't. I mean, the only horse that Corniche had to worry about, he breaks from the outside post. And
do you think some people discounted him because of the wide post? And do you think they were foolhardy to do it? Well, obviously they proved foolhardy to do it, but like.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know if he was discounted. He was real short, right? What did he go off at? I mean, I guess he was 7-5. I mean, yeah, he wasn't. That's about a reflection on the scratch of Jack Christopher, right? 5-2. He's gonna become 7-5. So, but the only horse who could really run with him early on was Baffert, Pinehurst. Yeah. So, I mean, I don't know anything if there was a conversation, but obviously Bob knows. Yeah, look at this horse running. So, yeah, I mean, obviously Baffert knows he has he thinks he has the two fastest horses out of the gate in the race. I'm not saying that he told Velasquez I don't know anything, but it wouldn't make sense. You would think maybe he decided that, Corniche is maybe more of a need the lead type, and Pinehurst getting a good position, and Corniche maybe goes wire to wire. If not, then Pinehurst sits behind. But you don't want your two horses to get involved early on. So we'll talk about Velasquez, backing off in a race a little bit later on for Baffert. And I don't know if he did that here at all. Maybe Corniche is just faster. And the thing that I love about Corniche also was his prep race coming in, because he had that big maiden win with a giant figure at 6.5, 5.5.
98 buyer for that.
Yeah, then he goes a mile and 16th. And again, you don't want to peak in the prep. So you run well, but not great, because to win the juvenile, TVG Juvenile, you have to run great. And he did that. So that was a perfect prep race for this horse in that first 2-turn race at Santa Anita, a mile and 16th in the American Pharaoh. And then he just put it all together. And a lot of horses don't run to their purchase price. This horse went for $1.5 million, and a wise investment for $1.5 million, 3 races in.
Oh gosh, yeah. And the other thing, I'll admit, when I saw it go up in basically 46, I thought to myself, oh, because he's a 2-year-old. This is a 2-year-old, and this is a big field. And I thought, oh no, did he go too fast for the half there?
No.
You don't think that for a 2-year, like?
No, I mean, he's going. What was it? 46 flat. What was the half mile? I think 46 and something is fine. And I actually had this conversation with his one of the top 5 riders I've ever seen. I was talking to him, Breeders' Cup with Gary Stevens, and I was talking to Gary about. We were talking about horses. I'm not saying he's a great horse. If you've raced 3 times, you're not a great horse. He's obviously an extremely talented racehorse. Extremely talented racehorses. And Gary was saying that this was correct. So Gary thinks it's correct. Then I'm going to go with it. Okay. That really, really good / great racehorses time doesn't matter that much if they're.
That's a good point. Yeah,
it doesn't matter. You know, let's just make something up. Let's just say
doing.
Let's just say that he went. Let's just say he went 46-3. If you go 46-3, you know, by your 46-1 by yourself for the half, that's better than going 46-3 challenged. I mean, if you're a front runner and you're really good and you're by yourself, I'm not saying the clock doesn't matter at all, but the time doesn't matter that much. It matters with average horses, good horses. But if you're a special racehorse and you're a front runner, the key is just to be on the lead. If you can get the lead and that's your style and you're a borderline great horse or a great racehorse, the fractions don't matter that much.
That's a great point. No, absolutely. And I mean,
he was by himself.
Yeah. And we've seen so many times also where horses, they expend so much energy when they're being restrained from their natural stride. So even though a rider may think that they're saving something in the tank to finish later, they've actually mentally and physically, again, because if a horse's stride is not its natural extended stride, it takes something out of them to like basically truncate how they're moving.
Right.
So, I mean, what you're saying is so true. And that's why a lot of times when you see a horse who gets stuck down on the rail and they had to shorten up stride, it takes something out of them. It's change your natural gait when you're running, like run into some like weird way, and it's uncomfortable and it eventually will wear on you. So what you're saying in the reverse is obviously something that makes a ton of sense. That I mean, so going 46 by yourself can be easier than getting a breather, but you're not going quite as fast, but with a horse not giving you a breather.
Yeah, and the last thing before we move on, I'll say about, Smith, you mentioned the 27 wins. This is a guess on the top of my head.
Okay.
But the amazing thing about Smith is the 27 wins is amazing.
Yes.
But his win percentage, if I had to guess, I'm probably wrong, but I'm close. I think is around 18 in Breeders' Cup races. We talk about guys having really good meetings that are winning at an 18% clip. So to win at an 18% clip with as many Breeders' Cup mounts as he's had against the best riders in the world and in giant fields, basically, that's the win percentage is almost more amazing than the wins for me.
No, he's remarkable. And you know what? I'm going to talk about him for a moment. Here's an idea. Ava says she needs to wash her hands. So why don't you get that little bowl or the other bowl that we have, like the salad bowl even, put some water in that and just let her play. I think she'll be very happy.
And I lost my chandelier violet out.
Yes, and what Ava's talking about, her spider webs, is that I caught her doing this before as well, when she got a hold of my pen. So she loves Spider-Man. So she got a hold of my pen one day and she drew lines on her hand like they were webs. So yeah, that's what she's talking about right now. Matt's going to take care of that for me. Give her some water, let her play with it, and we will proceed with this rewind. Hey, I mean, we're just the two of us with our little 3-year-old daughter. We're doing what we can. Hopefully, we're going to need the fun information, and maybe it's maybe this is something that you can identify with yourselves in your household. Try to get the work done while still watching your little one. So yeah, that was Corniche, and the buyer officially came back.
I need a 20-second timeout.
Oh yeah.
This could be a while. So just.
Oh.
Well, she wrote all of herself, and she wants that out, or else it's gonna be a struggle. So.
Oh no, I'm saying just let her play in the water. She's fine. You don't need to wash her hands. Let her she can.
If she wants to wash her. She wants to do that.
Oh, I know, but I'm just saying, did you give her the bucket with the water and put on the floor for her?
No.
Just put on the floor for her. She'll do it. She'll be fine. So live stream, everybody, live stream. So we had Corniche again as your winner in the TVG Juvenile. And then in second, Papa Cap. And the thing about Papa Cap that I want to bring back into the conversation is the fact that he is also, like Echo Zulu, by Gun Runner. So Gun Runner, to have a winner of one of these juvenile races, again, in the Juvenile Fillies with Echo Zulu, and then have his son, Papa Cap, run second in the TVG Juvenile, again, that is remarkable. And to see a Breeders' Cup champion like him represented in this way, it's really, really awesome, especially from a petty geek's perspective, because what we want to see, obviously, when we're breeding horses is consistency in, producing that same type of class, producing that same type of ability. And I will tell you, I spoke with Steve Asmussen. I cleared this up for everybody. It's crazy. He's been in the game for all these years now, and we still have people saying his name in a variety of ways. I cleared it up for you all. You're going to see that in a package that's coming down your way, coming in the next couple of weeks on Echo Zulu. But yeah, I mean, I will tell you that he loved that horse so much. Obviously, he won nearly $16 million, I believe. And what we were talking about during our little chat was Gunrunner and just the way he moves and this panther-like motion he has, and how he's producing such quality of these horses who are so athletic. And it's all very exciting to see this just being his first crop. What's going to happen with the next couple of crops, right? Especially when you get a mare like Beholder. So I think Ava's set for now, right?
We'll see.
We'll see. Okay. So we talked about Corniche. I mentioned Papa Cap again, because again, and I just think it's awesome that you have Gunrunner represented again. And then in third in that race, who I thought ran a giant race, is Giant Game for Romans and West Point and my friends there in the Allball family stables, Jason Luch. That horse is a horse I would certainly look toward as we're discussing Derby going forward.
Yeah, I mean, he has great pedigree. He cost a lot of money.
Oh,
He only had one route race coming in
right.
to it.
I mean, let's just talk like real quickly. I'm not going to get in the petty geeky.
The grass pedigree is not bad either, huh?
No, I mean, it could flip. I mean, he's a son of Giants Causeway. Then he's out of Game for More. So he himself, Giant Game, is a half brother to Isotherm, who was, he had surface flexibility.
Yeah.
But then the second dam, but Game for More, by the way, daughter of More Than Ready.
Yes.
And then the second dam by a Kentucky Derby winner in C Hero. And I already mentioned, by the way, C Hero being from Family 1X. But yeah, Giant Game's got a big pedigree that I think definitely wanted those two turns, and I think it's only going to get better with even more ground. So, of course, you may want to look at again as we're getting into Derby prep season. And he's a big, beautiful horse too.
I'm sure they were thrilled with it. I mean, he was 30-1 morning line. I don't know what his off odds were, but I don't have the chart in front of me right now. But I mean,
his off odds.
That's a huge performance. That's huge.
His off odds were 21-1.
Okay, but again, he had the favorite scratch, so I mean, he got bet a little bit.
Yeah. So okay, we just talked about now. How do we want to approach this? Because you've not talked about this enough. I know. How do you want to approach it? Because
I've never had a question asked more than the question that I received for my last 2 days in Southern California. Even on the plane leaving, ask about the Juvenile Turf and what happened. I think I'm a nice guy. I try, it was like a 3 to 5 minute story every time. And, by number 120, what do you think that should have happened? Tell me about what you think in the Juvenile Turf. I was kind of like, okay, here we go. So, I don't feel, I don't think our audience wants 3 to 5 minutes either.
No.
At this point, it's unbelievably unfortunate. Everyone knows that, once they scratched the horse, from what I hear, it would have been, I don't know if it was impossible is the right word, or getting the horse, back in the system to bet on after he was taken out would have been too difficult. Could they have scratched the horse at that point because the bettors were put at a disadvantage? I think they could have made that decision. I'm not saying they should have made that decision. You have a horse that did not break through the gate, that was led through the starting gate and taken back around. because of what happened with the 2-horse casting himself in the stall before the race. Albar. And it's not the horse's fault, the connection's fault, anybody involved with the horses with Modern Games' fault that they made that mistake. So, they let, so what happened. I even heard later on, I don't want to get into this, that, that it was getting dark. It was 5:30 Pacific. And if they would have put the horse back in the betting system, they would have allocated some time for people then to realize what had happened. The horse went from running to scratch to not scratch, and it was getting dark. I don't want to get into that either right now. And this is not my opinion. This was said.
Right.
So it was, once all this happened, I've been going to the track since I was 2, and being 52, that's 50 years. The horse, right? The horse was a mortal lock at that point that he was going to win the race.
Oh yeah,
it was a mortal lock.
Here's the thing. That was, to me, one of the most likely winners of the whole Future Stars Friday card. If anybody had watched that race, he was coming out of that win there in the Tattersall Somerville Stakes at Newmarket. You knew that this was a horse who basically can motor like a rocket ship.
It's like everybody I talked to also, I would say literally 50 to 75 people talked to me about their own gambling on that race. And I would say, let's say 75, 50 of them, of course it cost them the pick 5. Maybe it did. I don't know. I didn't ask to look at tickets and, because I knew your TVG account. I'll take your word for it. But 50 people it cost to pick 5. And then the other 25 got lucky.
Oh, you know what though? I should be fair. Like because I said most likely once in terms of like, if you had to go with the shorter price, because other than that, now I'm going to sound like I'm being contrarian.
Because this was favored, right?
It looked, well, I think wasn't Albar favored over him before?
I don't remember.
I'd have to double check. But here's the thing. The race was either going to be him or wide open, because all the other horses, everybody looked like they had a shot. Okay. And I even talked to our friend Gino for like 40 some minutes on this race. I was like, yeah, this horse could win, and this horse could win, and this horse could win too, and blah, 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 blah. So I shouldn't have said but I'm saying if it's not going to be, it was going to be that one. It seemed like, right?
Yeah, these aren't I don't have a lot of. The horse that I picked, I think, was terrible. I think I bet Dubawi Legend, who didn't run well at all.
Well, here's the other thing, and
I used McKinnon, who I thought he had a chance, and he ended up losing. I guess ended up losing by a nose or something, or a head.
The whole team. I felt like, okay, I got knocked out of my pick 5 because I didn't have Twilight Gleaming.
Yeah.
And so I was already, and then I forget. Oh, and then I didn't have Pizza Bianca. So my tickets had I had used Modern Games, but I'd also used Tis the Bomb and a couple others on my ticket for this leg. So because Modern Games was running for purse money only, obviously I got a better payout because of what happened, because then Tis the Bomb was your pari-mutuel winner of the race. But the thing that kind of sat with me as the saddest part of it, don't get me wrong, pari-mutually speaking, for everybody who had waiters
going, booing after the race,
I felt so bad for the horse. Don't get me wrong. I understand why everybody was upset. I do. And I'm not saying you shouldn't have been. And especially if you were like, alive to your horizontal wagers for some sides. But I just felt so bad for the connections, because here your horse is coming back to get their photo taken, and people are expressing their displeasure with the situation. But I do hope that they all know, and I'm sure they do, that it wasn't about them. The horse put in such an impressive performance and looked like a winner just from the break, and just professional. And then when he closed in for that win, let's go ahead. We're going to take a look here and watch Modern Games in the Juvenile Turf.
Juvenile Turf. And it's Dakota Gold who brings Harper from the inside.
Okay, I'm gonna have to take a couple minutes here again. So
Oh, okay.
I'll be back to at least wrap it up.
Oh boy.
Hi.
Hi. She's back. Okay, so you see Modern Games down there on the rail, the one horse. In the Godolphin Silks. And I was going to have Matt talk you through this race, but since he's not here, I'll just let you enjoy it full screen, and I'll be back on the other side.
Modern Games has 5 lengths to make up. Ground Fawns alongside, and then comes Credibility, followed by Slipstream, Stolen Base, and McKinnon. Tis the Bomb and Great Max. It is Portfolio Company and Pointage, taking them around the far turn 1-2. These two with Grafton Street coming 3 wide after them. Then Dubowie Legend in behind horses. Dakota Gold to the inside. Modern Games is now moving on the far outside. He's kicked it in and he's closing down the center of the course with 1 furlong to run. Grafton Street to catch. Modern Games on the outside. Closing that gap, Dakota Gold and Slipstreamer next, but it's Modern Games. Modern Games will win the Juvenile Turf. Under the wire clear. Tis the Bomb came flying late. Then came McKinnon, followed by Grafton Street and Dakota Gold.
Alongside Jimmy Bell representing owners Godolphin.
So there you had Modern Games winning the Breeders' Cup Juvenile Turf, an eventful Juvenile Turf for sure. The other thing that's really interesting is that Modern Games, a son of Dubois, and what a weekend he had, because Dubois was also represented by 2 Breeders' Cup winners on Saturday, and I am talking about our Longines Breeders' Cup Turf champ, Ebir, if I'm saying that correctly, who won the 1.5 mile contest there on the turf and put up a 105 buyer doing it. You also had Dubois represented by Space Blues in the FanDuel Breeders' Cup Mile, presented by the PDJF, that is the Permanently Disabled Jockey Fund. And he put up a 106 buyer figure. And just Dubois, I mean, again, that's remarkable to have 3 of your progeny pick up Breeders' Cup championship wins. And I'm sure they're all ecstatic there with the success that he has continually had. I mean, he's been a classy sire. And so to see it just continue on has been really nice to see. I will see if Matt's going to be coming back to us soon here. I believe he will be. I'm assuming there may have been a bathroom break for Miss Ava. But in the meantime, we can go ahead and talk about a horse who didn't run on Future Stars Friday this year, but did win on Future Stars Friday last year. And I am talking about Golden Pal. You know, I'm a huge Golden Pal fan. I actually have a picture of him up there on my wall right there, because his then breeder and owner at the time, Randall Lowe, and his wife Brenda, beautiful Brenda, they've been so kind. They've invited me to basically be part of Team Pal, and Matt is back. You back?
I am.
Okay. All right. I didn't know when. So I'm talking about Golden Pal right now.
Yep.
Oh, and by the way, I did mention, in case you wanted to chime in at all, Dubois, 3 winners across the Breeders' Cup Friday and Saturday. That's pretty remarkable, no?
Yeah, I would say so. We're a couple for Appleby. I mean, he wins every race now.
Appleby and oh my goodness, our guy, William Buick.
Right. No. But you said there were 3 winners.
Yeah.
Were they all trained by? Did he win 3? He won 2, right? Appleby.
Well, with Space Blues, right?
That's right. Yeah, right. In the mile.
And who's? Oh my gosh, how do I not have this right in front of me? Well, who trains Evir? That's him too, right?
Yes. Yeah.
Okay. So yeah, you had me feeling like I was going crazy. It's all Appleby and Buick, right?
Yeah. No.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So there you go. And his native trail, who he did not bring over for Future Stars Friday, champion 2-year-old, Cartier 2-year-old over there across the pond for him.
And
so that's pretty exciting.
Yeah, and Yabir, or however you say it, that was as good a ride as you'll ever see.
Right?
Really on grass. That was, I mean, it's not a big surprise. But that ride was perfect. That was a perfect ride.
Yeah, no. And I mean, also the other thing, I mean, with it being the Breeders' Cup, to have Dubawi, who's one of the Darley Stallions, to have, them represented with him as the sire, and then these are their runners, it's pretty amazing.
No, it's mind-boggling, really, if you think about it.
Oh gosh. And I think there's some crazy statistic for Appleby with this year in particular, 7 for 11.
Yeah. And I think, I mean, I thought I saw somewhere that when he comes to the U.S. in grade ones or something over the last, he's like 9 for his last 17, which is, I mean, that's insane.
Yeah, no, for sure. But yeah, as you came back, I was talking about Golden Pal and just how I feel like, well, the lows have been so great, making me feel like I'm part of the team. And at the time, they bred Golden Pal. And last year when he won the Juvenile Turf Sprint, they owned him too. But since then, they've sold him the ownership to Coolmore. And so that's pretty cool because he's the son of Uncle Mo, the aforementioned 2010 Breeders' Cup Juvenile and Eclipse champion 2-year-old, who stands there at Coolmore's Ashford stud. So that's very neat that he has that going for him. But the other part to the story, of course, is that Golden Pal, son of Lady Shipman. And Lady Shipman, she was second by like a whisker. She nearly got there in the 2015 Breeders' Cup Turf Sprint. And she a daughter of a Breeders' Cup champion, also midshipman, won the Juvenile 2008. So you got all this BC ped cred, right? And now he's going to try to win the race that his dam came so close to winning. And I feel like, and maybe it's just because, honestly, maybe it's because I'm biased, but I felt like this is one of the coolest performances of like the whole weekend.
No, for sure.
Like the way this horse breaks. I mean, I know you always like to say breaks with alacrity. This puts a whole freaking puts it in bold letters with rockets going off because this horse is just out the gate and gone.
Yeah,
it was remarkable. And I will also say it was another side of this that was so cool is that we saw him prep for this race in the Woodford. We were there. Not only were we there, but the Lowe's invited us to their box to watch the race. And then you were invited as well, but you had to stay behind because Ava wasn't moving as fast as we would have had to go. They invited us into the winner's circle. I'm sorry that you had to stay behind, but that was cool too. So we were there for the prep, actually watching with them. And now here he goes to basically get the job done that his mom came very close to doing herself. And this is, again, in the Breeders' Cup Turf Sprint, a Future Star shining bright, going from Future Stars Friday to Championship Saturday, Golden Pal.
Yeah, I think Lady Shipman lost to Mongolian Saturday, I believe.
Yeah.
At Keeneland. But,
yeah,
I mean, what I'm going to say now, a lot of people have said, so it's nothing original, but I mean, this horse is he's a 3-horse, and these are the fastest turf sprinters in the world.
Yeah.
And I can't recall, and I was talking with Kurt Hoover, the two of us have been watching races for a century or something. I mean, I can't remember a horse this on turf, at least. I mean, you think of horses like Artax and even Mia Farah, but horses with this kind of gate speed. I mean, he cleared this field he hadn't even run 100 yards, and he was already literally multiple lengths, maybe a couple, but when you're multiple lengths, 100 yards into the Breeders' Cup sprint race, that's insanity to have that kind of speed. This horse, I've never seen a turf sprinter this fast. And, he, in a bizarre way,
there's Leslie.
There's Leslie. It sort of reminds me of, in a weird way, how I said how Corniche had the perfect prep.
Yeah.
Coming in the Pharaoh was good. It wasn't great because you don't want to run your race. And I thought his Woodford race, Golden Pal, was good. I didn't think it was great, but the Bafferts, the Wesley Wards, if they can win a big race, which is a prep race, and not have to run at their top level to do so, that is ideal. And they both won their races. So they win in Corniche's instance, he wins the American Pharaoh. With Golden Pal, he wins the Woodford, but they don't look great doing it because you want to look great in your next start. And that was tremendous. No, we don't show the race, but that race followed up by, whatever it was, 40 minutes later, seeing what Life is Good did. Those were back-to-back scintillating performances over a weekend in which I thought it's Breeders' Cup, you expect him, but I thought most of the races from, a winner's standpoint, the top horses are too, they lived up to the type of race they were running in.
Oh gosh, yeah. And the other thing is, okay, 5-2 looked like an absolute gift there.
Well,
yeah. And he made a big buyer jump too. That buyer came back 107 for him. And I thought that he was going to be retired out of that race, but we're hearing that there's the possibility of a trip out to Royal Ascot for him. So
that'd be
very exciting.
I mean, and just little hats off to Lieutenant Dan. I mean, that horse has turned into, he ran a monster race chasing that freak the entire race. Lieutenant Dan, a horse that, Steve Miotti, this horse didn't run from June 6th of 2020 to the Del Mar meeting, July 23rd of 2021. And obviously just a different animal. And obviously is a fan of that turf course at Del Mar. So yeah, Golden Pal was ridiculously good. Lieutenant Dan, in a kind of a normal Breeders' Cup turf sprint year, probably would have won.
Well, it was really, again, for me, the most rewarding part, beyond obviously rooting for the connections and feeling connected to the horse himself. Again, it's what you just went over, just that speed, that acceleration he showed. It just, when you see a horse do something like that, that's what racing's all about, right?
Was that any effort from Rod Ortiz? It wasn't like he had to it wasn't like he was like this out of the gate or anything. Like it was like just kind of this natural, innate, I don't know what the right word is, that type of speed, that kind of acceleration from literally from stopping because you haven't started yet to being at going from 0 to 45 and like a Ferrari. It was amazing.
Well, that was another Breeders' Cup win for Rad Ortiz because again he was aboard Twilight Gleaming and who else did he had a big weekend. Let me look this up real quick because I feel like everything's a blur too because I'm watching these races in between watching her.
And this is I had this past week off. It's the first week I've had off in about a year and a half, so I kind of got away from racing. Breeders' Cup kind of takes a lot out of you. I took the week off.
Life is Good. He rode Life is Good.
Yeah, he rode Life is Good.
Golden Pal, Twilight Gleaming.
Right.
Yeah, that's pretty nice weekend right there. What are those horses all totaled up? Come on.
Yeah, Buick, Rosario, and Rod Ortiz.
Oh my gosh. And so so I'm very happy because again, I can't stress this enough. When they decided to make the 2-year-old races their own card for Breeders' Cup, the hope was that we were going to be bringing you a showcase of the horses you should watch going forward. And so it is really, really cool to see Golden Pal going from winning on Friday to then going to win on Saturday. And another horse who is a Future Stars Friday grad, and I touched upon this earlier, didn't win in 2018 in the juvenile, but did run second. I'm talking about Knicks Go. And Knicks Go, what a cool horse, because he's a very Gold Pal as well. And now Knicks Go, additionally, they're in a very short list of horses who have won 2 different divisions of a Breeders' Cup race. You got Beholder on that list. You got Zenyatta on that list. Stephanie's Kitten won the Juvenile Turf Filly, or Juvenile Fillies Turf, and then the Juvenile, and then the Filly and Mares Turf. And a Secret Circle, but that was when we had the Juvenile Sprint. Sorry, Ava's in the background. That's distracting.
Right.
But still, that counts, right?
Yeah, sure. Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
So a very short list that now includes Golden Pal having won the Juvenile Turf Sprint and now the Turf Sprint. And Knicks Go, he didn't win the Juvenile. Like I said, he was second in 2018, but in 2020 at Keeneland, he did win the Dirt Mile and did that in record time. And then he wins the Breeders' Cup Classic. And I think it was like just 2 ticks off the track record for a mile and quarter set by Candy Ride there at Del Mar.
Julie Crone, the Ron McAnally, the Jenny Craig.
Yeah. And so it's really neat to see horses be able to show versatility. I know there were a lot of people who were like, well, Knicks Go, he's never been this far. Can't go the distance. And they were going to discount him for that reason. I was always of the opinion, based on his pedigree, because remember, he's by Painter. Painter, a son of Awesome Again. Awesome Again won the Classic in 98. Painter is also out of a full sister to Tiz Now. Tiz Now, the only horse to win the Classic twice. Okay, so that's dad. And then your mom is by Outflanker. And the thing I say that you should remember regarding Outflanker is Outflanker's mom is a half sister to Weekend Surprise, who's the dam of AP Indy, Classic winner and Hall of Famer. So to me, there was enough in the genetic mix to think that he could get a mile and a quarter if he got away easily. And guess what he did? He got away easily.
Yeah, I tried to beat him in the race. I tried to beat him in the race. I did. And I guess, you hear everyone's talking during the week and everyone's being interviewed, and it's our Super Bowl, obviously. So you get so much more information than you do any other week of the year, really, including the Derby, because there's the buildup and TVG does a great job with the breakfast show. It used to be the Works. Now it's a breakfast show. So you get all this information, and it's hard to tell sometimes, what information you take in from the human component and what information you ignore. And John Velasquez stated, I'm not going to hook Knicks Go. It's not good for Medina's spirit. And he didn't. And so he did what he said he was going to do. And when that happened, Knicks Go went out and got the lead. We talked about the malfunctioning and some of the times. And what I had written down, I don't know where I had written down. So I'm looking at actually Randy Moss's Twitter account right now. And because I think initially, because Randy wrote, for those who are interested in the Breeders' Cup Classic fractions, should be in the close neighborhood of 23, 46, and 4, because initially it had 6 of the 8 horses going 22 and change. Okay. The opening course. So it's another situation of where, yes, Knicks Go is a great racehorse. And we already had this conversation about if you're a great horse and you're by yourself, it doesn't really matter about fractions. But he wasn't going quite as quickly up front as we thought he was initially.
Well, I will say this. Okay, I'm going to read off some of the stats regarding this horse. Okay, he's the number 1 horse in the world on Longines World Best Racehorse ranking. Again, just 2 clicks off Katie Ride's 18-year track record. He got a 112 buyer for this win, which is the fastest buyer of the entire Breeders' Cup this year. He's a 2-time new track record setter. And he's been a grade 1 winner at 2, 4, and 5. He's got over 8.6 million in earnings. And if you're wondering where I'm reading this to you from, it's if you go to TaylorMade, where he's going to stand stud after he retires, because he's not even retired yet, everybody. they've got his page up, and they've got all these great stats here. Okay, I'm just gonna go here.
Hi, Mama.
Hi, Ava.
Hi.
So yeah, I mean, just all these great stats that you can check out if you go to TaylorMade's website. But as I just said, he's not even done yet. We thought, okay, you got the fairy tale ending. You're now a dual Breeders' Cup champion. Okay, dual divisional Breeders' Cup champion. You've locked down Horse of the Year honors. Okay, and yeah, you go out on this big high note, right? No, they're going to try to defend his Pegasus World Cup title. And the fun thing is that his breeders, one of his breeders, Sabrina Moore, her family bred him. She posted that the Pegasus is actually going to fall this year on his actual birthday, January 29th, which is actually your daughter's, Sophia's birthday.
It is, yeah.
So I mean, that would be a great way to like close the career out, right? Because that race is relatively new. So if he did win, he'd be the first horse to do it twice. So he would set a precedent, right? And so it's fun from that perspective as well. So he will be tangling, provided everything goes smoothly for both camps. He'll be tangling with Life is Good in there.
Right. And yeah, and Life is Good. Obviously, it's freaky talented and unbelievably fast too. So it's the kind of matchup that we, love putting on the calendar and have a couple of months to hopefully look forward to it. I'm not surprised that he didn't go off as the favorite in this race. I thought a lot of people would look at, it's kind of, I don't know if it's simplistic handicapping, but lots of speed, closer, and Essential Quality was the obvious closer in the race. So I thought because you had a group of horses that all did one thing, and then you had one horse I know there was other closers, but in terms of legitimately having a chance to winning, there's only one that had the off-the-pace running style. So I figured that it's kind of like in a voting situation, players in the same team will split votes. Mm-hmm. Horses that have the same running style, talented speed horses are going to split, dollars sort of. And the one closer and get the money is Essential Quality. So I wasn't surprised that, especially a horse that, 8 for 9 lifetime with that running style did go off as the favorite, and a horse that we knew a mile and a quarter wasn't an issue with, where some ended up not being very smart, questioned Knicks Go at 10 furlongs. We mentioned by Painter, who, in my opinion, nothing against Mike Matz and Union Rags, was probably the best horse in the Belmont in 2012. And when he lost a heartbreaker by a neck with Union Rags, I believe, getting through up on the inside to get by him late.
Now, if you're wondering why I haven't shown the replay, it's because I actually want to close out the show with the replay.
Okay.
But cool. I also, so we're not going to talk over it, so that's why we're talking now. I do have a couple questions for you. I thought Medina Spirit ran great, considering that, as you said, Johnny didn't want to go on a suicide mission with the horse and get him burnt up. So he ran his race. He tried. He couldn't get there, and to get to Knicks Go in the end. But he did get second. So Medina Spirit, legitimate. Essential Quality. The one thing I noticed during the course of that race, do you think the rail trip had anything to do with sort of getting him, basically not in a position to be competitive?
If I think what, the rail, is that what you said?
Yeah, because at one point I do recall him being on that rail there, and just, how we were talking earlier about horses having to shorten up their stride sometimes. It kicks them out of being competitive.
Yeah, I think, I don't think that was a great spot for him. I think that's fair. I don't think he was overly comfortable in that spot. But, the race was pretty much over early on. Essential Quality and Hot Rod Charlie, they both have a lot of this. They do. They're gonna try the whole race. And in terms of the first thing you said about John Velasquez and Medina Spirit, I already talked about it a little bit. But, right. John Velasquez is obviously, we saw him win the Classic wire to wire last year. Right?
Yeah.
With Authentic. Mm-hmm. It was a smart move. I think it was a little conservative, but that was the right move. That was the right move. Sometimes being conservative is smart, right? You're not always trying to hit the home run and throw the 80-yard touchdown pass. Sometimes second in the Classic is great, and I think
Ava.
Obviously, he thought he could rate and win. I'm not saying he didn't think he couldn't win going in, but he knew he couldn't win if he got in a speed duel. And he knew if he did get in a speed duel, he's probably going to not hit the board. So
Right.
let's rate. Maybe I can win that way.
Yeah.
Maybe somebody else, a Hot Rod Charlie, maybe somebody else can run with Knicks Go. And at the very least, I have a really good chance of finishing second or third in a giant race, which is obviously a lot better than finishing seventh or eighth.
Why don't you pick her up and put her on your lap? Maybe I think she is just so desperate for attention right now. Hi, Ava.
Hi, Mama.
Hi, Ava. We're doing a show right now. Wave to everybody. Can you wave? I'm gonna come back in just a minute because I'm gonna make dinner.
What's her name, Mom?
What's my name?
What's her name?
I don't know. That's you.
What?
You're looking at yourself.
What's her name right here?
I don't know
I
what
don't
you're talking
know.
about, but that's okay. Oh, maybe she's talking about my little caricature in the corner there for the logo for the show. That's me. Although my caricature is much
maybe.
cuter than I am.
This one right here.
That could be it. Yeah.
I
Yeah,
don't
What's her
know.
name right
Yeah, that's
here?
her, yeah.
Right
Hey,
here.
Ava,
yeah.
right there. Ava, we're Ava, we're gonna finish up the show and then I'm gonna come make some Alfredo for you.
Okay.
Okay. Ava. Uh-oh. It's just me and your daddy. It's like a mirror. So in any case,
No, those pop-ups came up and I got rid of them.
oh, pop up. I got you. So in any case, to basically wrap things up, I have just a couple more questions. Who, in your opinion, you are a voter, who do you think is champion 3-year-old? And I gotta give a shout out too to, you talked about Essential Quality and Hot Rod Charlie. I mean, they too are a great examples of what we want this Future Stars Friday program to be. I mean, they were 1-2 in the Breeders' Cup TVG Juvenile of last year, and they have been tremendous all year long as 3-year-olds. Essential Quality is retired. Hot Rod Charlie is going to go on and run at 4, so that's very exciting. And by the way, he's also half brother to McCauley. So I think a lot of people forget that, Hot Rod Charlie.
Yeah, I mean, to be honest with you, again, Breeders' Cup, I flew home, and as you know, I've been off this week, so I haven't really thought about it too much.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't really have an answer for you, even though I don't like being wishy-washy. I don't really have an answer.
I mean, he's second the classic here. I mean, I don't.
Yeah, I'm leaning Medina Spirit, but that's not my. I mean, I'm not. Maybe I'll talk myself into voting for Essential Quality. I don't know.
So you think it's between those two?
Well, I think head-to-head matchups matter, right? And
yes.
Again, we've been doing this show has been going on pretty long right now, and I don't want to get into the Kentucky Derby at this point.
Right.
But right now, I believe Medina Spirit's going to end the year before I vote as the winner of the Kentucky Derby. That's the way I have to look at it as a voter. My opinion on any of the other stuff, it doesn't matter at all. I think. So if you beat him in the Derby and he finished ahead of him in the Classic, and that's the only 2 times they face each other, I think I vote for Medina Spirit.
And he won the Awesome. Wow. I can't remember the field in the Awesome again, but when he won that.
Yeah, I mean, it wasn't much, but he did win it. He earned a 107 and he won by 5. So, I mean, he ran big. So.
Okay, well, I am going to, Ava, I'm going to show you something.
I think you should throw her the race by yourself.
Okay, I'm gonna put her on mute. I'm gonna put her on mute. Oh, guys, this is what happens when I bring Matt in, and we do have our daughter. She's usually really good throughout the whole show, but she wants some attention. I understand when you're 3 and you're like, you're fabulous. You want your attention too. So. The thing I did want to say is that we did get to hang out with Knicks Go over at TaylorMade the other day. And I got to tell you guys, this horse, not only is he as tremendously talented as you can see right there on paper, okay, but when I went up and saw him in person, I was so struck by what a perfect, I mean, the horse is pretty much freaking perfect, okay? Like the angles on him. Got beautiful, nice, short cannon bones. He's got great bone. He's not a giant horse by any stretch, but he's perfect. Like he's basically, as I said in my, or on my post on Twitter, he's basically like a Pegasus that you just don't see the wings because he's just perfectly put together. He's masterfully built. again, every angle just fits so well. I mean, from the neck into the shoulder and the withers, and again, the legs are perfect. The angles of his pasterns, just he's got beautiful flat knees, and that matters. I know people go, oh, what does that matter, or what does that mean? Well, if the horse is over the knee or back of the knee is worse. But when you see horses like that, oh, nope. Is she still
No,
talking?
she wants to see you.
Oh, I'll be up there very shortly. So so a horse is, if you're over the knee or back of the knee, and again, back of the knee is worse, you can have soundness issues. This horse, his leg is like perfect. I mean, just nice flat knees, and he's got beautiful pointed hip, and just, again, gorgeous. And on top of that, his temperament is fabulous. I mean, here is a young horse, relatively. I mean, you're still young. You have to remember, in the show world, horses don't even really start training until they're like 3 years old. Okay. So yeah, relatively speaking, he's 5, but he's still young. And he's got a temperament of just a cool, laid back horse. He could not have been sweeter. He was super kind, not only to me, but to Ava. I'll show you a picture here if you don't follow me on Twitter. Let's see, I'll share the screen and I'll show you my Twitter feed where I've got some pictures. So let's see here, make sure that's working. So there I am with him. And I'm like 5'3 1/4. I am wearing a little bit of heel there. So that'll give you an idea of how big he is. But oh gosh, he's just perfect. Just looking at him there, he's, again, as I said in the post, he's masterfully built. And there he is with Matt and Ava, and he could not have been sweeter. He's so kind, such a beautiful horse. And I want to just thank the whole team out there at TaylorMade for letting us go out and spend some time with him. You're going to see a little feature on him. And I actually recorded some beautiful little bit of B-roll to go along with that package. That's going to be on Breeders' Cup social media sometime in the next couple of weeks. But Knicks Go is, yes, Wayne Harrison saying right here, lovely gray. Yeah. He's gorgeous. I mean, I can't fault him. Liam Benson was out there, who works for TaylorMade, and I was telling him just how taken aback I was by the horse, because you can't really fault him. I mean, he's beautiful. Again, every angle, everything, temperament, everything, talent, obviously, everything, and just, again, beautiful inside and out. Final time in that Breeders' Cup Classic was, just to make sure I've got it here, 159 and 57 100ths, 112 buyer figure. And here we thought maybe that, that was the career bow. No, we're going to get to see him in action on his birthday, defending his Pegasus World Cup title I mean, again, he's a Pegasus himself, so that would be an awesome way to celebrate his birthday for sure. So now, to wrap up the show, this is the final show of the Future Stars forecast for 2021. I hope you've enjoyed it. We're going to go on our hiatus. You'll be able to check me out on the Tampa Bay Downs simulcast feed, because I am your humble handicapper for Tampa Bay Downs. Hopefully, I'll be picking you out some winners. We're 8 days away from opening day. I'm very excited about that. What else? Oh, we're going to have some fun other little features here on Breeders' Cup for you. And of course, every replay I showed you today, and all the replays from the 2021 championships and on back, you can check out on Breeders' Cup YouTube. You can also find Breeders' Cup on Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, basically whatever social media you like, you probably can find Breeders' Cup there. And don't worry, we won't be gone for long, because we've got more action coming for you in 2022. I like calling the Future Stars forecast the Future Stars forecast follow up once we get into that. But on that note, I'm going to leave you with the replay of the Longines Breeders' Cup Classic featuring Knicks Go, who, again, he may have not won the Breeders' Cup Juvenile in 2018, but he was second. And again, an example of what we're looking for with this showcase, horses who go from Future Stars Friday to shining bright on Championship Saturday. I hope all of you enjoyed the footage this year, and I will check you back for the forecast in 2022.
Goes in, and they're all in line. They're off in the Breeders' Cup Classic. And Knicks Go goes up to the early lead as expected. Art Collector is up and on the pace. Stiletto Boy is on the outside. Then Hot Rod Charlie. Tripoli has the rail. Essential Quality is in behind them. And Medina Spirits outside of horses. Reined off the pace by John Velasquez early on. Max Player at the back of the pack. So it's Knicks Go in front. Through this opening quarter mile, Knicks Go leads it by 3/4 of a length over Art Collector, and they complete the quarter in 23.16 seconds. Medina Spirit is caught out there 3 wide. Hot Rod Charlie is in behind the leaders, drafting in 4th. And then comes Essential Quality right behind him, alongside of Stiletto Boy. A 3 wide Max Player is next, and Tripoli is unhurried at the back of the field, 7 lengths off of Knicks Go, who will take them to the backstretch. Knicks Go and Joel Rosario a length and a half in front. And then it's Art Collector, followed on the outside by Medina Spirit. The first half, 45.77 seconds. So Knicks Go is moving right along here. Up the backstretch at Del Mar with a 2.5 length lead. Art Collector, Hot Rod Charlie, and Medina Spirit are right behind them. Then comes Stiletto Boy. Essential Quality is on the rail. He's got 5 lengths to make up. Max Players of the 3-path. Tripoli is the trailer. It is Knicks Go on top, 3/4 at 110.04 seconds. He leads the way by 2 lengths on the far turn. Art Collector on the outside is second. Hot Rod Charlie is on the rail. Then Medina Spirit. Essential Quality has come under a ride as they make their way to the top of the stretch. It is Knicks Go, and he's going to try to take him the distance here. Knicks Go comes wide for the stretch drive. Hot Rod Charlie on the inside is second, and then comes Medina Spirit, Art Collector, and Essential Quality into the final furlong, and it is Knicks Go! Knicks Go has a 2.5 length lead. Medina Spirit, Hot Rod Charlie, Essential Quality, Knicks Go, a superstar, wins the Breeders' Cup Classic. Medina Spirit was second, Essential Quality was third, and Hot Rod Charlie was fourth, in a final time of 1:59.57 seconds.
The celebration continuing.